Now let's move on to somebody who's always giving us unexpected news, okay? Larry Madowo. We all love Larry Madowo.
And he's changed accent.
Exactly. He's just such a success story because a person who grew up in the village and now he's talking like a UK citizen. It's just a success story. It just goes to show money stops nonsense, okay? You wanted to talk to, like he's from whatever. No, he said that accent nonsense. I will not do it, okay? And right now he's on CNN, okay? So do what you gotta do, boo. Ukisikia accent yako inakulimit, tafadhali enda training. Fanya training uanze kuongea kama Duke of whatever. Anyway, I digress. He's now talking about how there was a slight chance that he would have become a priest instead of a journalist.
God damn.
Imagine Larry Madowo and you're confessing your sins to him. Anyway. Okay, that's a okay. Ooh.
You're trying to come for everybody today. You're coming for everybody. Okay.
So now he's talking about how briefly in high school he wanted to become a Catholic priest. He says, my entire high school was spent at a Catholic seminary. I guess I was among those who were chosen, those who are called but not chosen. You can be called but you can't be chosen. Some are not chosen, okay? But mostly I wanted to become a priest because I thought I could help people. I still help people as a journalist, but in a different way. And it just goes to show your life can just be different from a single decision. Imagine if he had just pursued priesthood and gone to a seminary and stayed in the seminary because he says his high school period was in a seminary. That is just very interesting news. It just goes left. You're one decision away from a completely different life. However, there were influences in his life that made him choose journalism, such as his mother would always have the radio on and they would get news from every part of the world. His father would always like come with newspapers and he would get news from that. And then his mother was a primary school teacher and she would, give him a book to read and tell him to summarize it back to him. Just these small influences that just change and mold your life into a different direction. However, he says, now that he's become an international journalist, you've spent 10 years in media in Kenya and now he's in CNN, a lot of people have come out and called him a traitor. Why? Because of some of the news stories that he covers while on CNN. But he says he's just not there for PR because you would expect if there's an African, kuna mutu wenyu ako huko CNN, if CNN was to publish a specific story, it would be published in good light. But he says just because I am in CNN and I'm going to do this story as unbiased as ever. I'm going to highlight it. Even if it's horrible, even if it's the worst of the worst, I am still going to highlight it because my work here is to give a voice and to give a perspective as somebody who grew up in these specific areas so that you just don't get this whitewashed news. Have you ever had like somebody covering a story and you're just thinking you could never relate to what's happening here and it just comes off in a bad taste? And that is why he's there. He's not there for PR. Mjuange tu kuna mtu wa CNN. He's just going to cover favorable stories and that's it. No. And even a lot of backlash that he got when he covered the floods in Nigeria, where he was in some dingy area and he was submerged like half and interviewing this woman talking about how the floods have affected them and in low income areas and everything, and he got a lot of backlash for that. But the question is, would you have preferred to have a white man over there doing that? That would have been worse.
In the ghetto.
In Nigeria. I am half submerged in water.
I'm telling you, it's devastating. People are dying.
Exactly.
Malaria is all over the place. I cannot believe that these people are living in this condition.
Exactly. It's just better when an African and a person who's actually experienced this covers the story. So I don't get why you guys are against Larry Madowo doing this very hard topics that we need to address, okay?
Absolutely.
So be easy on him,
Let me tell you, journalism is hard. We don't do journalism. We are TV hosts. Journalism, on the other hand, is reporting facts, unbiased. You have to be scrupulous about how you report the news. You have to do investigations. You have to go and actually research in order for you not to end up being, your information being used against you. We've seen the story of the lady who ended up being cast out of her family, kicked out of her job because information was misconstrued. And on her flight back into South Africa, because she was in the States, on her flight from the States, I think Los Angeles to South Africa, people were up in arms on Twitter. She got cancelled. By the time she's landing, her father has disowned her. Her job has literally kicked her out and all of that. Let's just be all the way honest. Information is so easy to misconstrue. And a lot of journalists have also lost their jobs because of that fact, because they were just a little biased. And then by the time the cookie crumbles, you find out, oh, I was on the wrong side of the news. And now guess what? You're done. You're done. It's unforgivable for you to do such things. So I completely love the fact that Larry Madowo keeps it very, very 100. Listening to him can be a little bit of a change because like we remember Larry and then we listen to the Larry now and he's a different person altogether. But I also have a justification for that.
Yeah.
You have to be understood to the people who you work for and the people who you're reporting news to. Imagine if I had a Meru accent, a very thick Meru accent. Nakuja hapa nawambia, I am telling you the truth. I do not understand what is going on.
We wouldn't listen to you.
Exactly. And then even worse, now take my Meru accent all the way to the who has hey at the CNN. It can't work. It doesn't work like that. You have to be understood by the people who are listening to you. Your dialect needs to be of a certain level and a certain intonation, diction, and all of that in order for you to be understood. Anyway, long story short, Larry Madowo is living his best life. I would have loved to see him in a suit. I feel like for Halloween next year, Larry Madowo, I have a request. For Halloween of next year, please dress as a priest. I just want to see that outfit. I want to see him in full priest regalia. Like I am talking the white collar, I am talking the long robe. That's what I want to see for next year in Halloween. But for now, I think it's about time for us to wrap up the conversation with regard to Larry Madowo. What do you think your opinions are with this regard? Would you want to see this Halloween costume that I am now requesting? Or do you think he is just right where he is and he should probably dress like a journalist again?